I had the juvenile lead in that show, Ravenel singing Only Make Believe and You Are Love and those songs, but I'd love to have been Joe the Negro singing that wonderful song. Paul Robeson made the part very much his own in the London opening of Showboat in 1928. I loved listening to Paul Robeson on the wireless, and this is one of his songs which I learned by that means. It's called Wagon Wheels. Trains rushing here and there, flying machines flashing through the air, automobiles all shiny and new for folks with nothing else to do. But when I want to travel to the soil I cling, I jump on my wagon and sing. Wagon wheels, wagon wheels, keep on turning. Wagon wheels, roll along, sing your song, carry me over the hill. Go long, mule, there's a steamer at the landing, waiting for the cotton to load. Go long, mule, the boss is understanding, there's a pasture at the end of the road. Wagon wheels, wagon wheels, keep on turning. Wagon wheels, roll along, sing your song. Wagon wheels, carry me home. Wagon wheels, carry me home. Show I did in Nelson in 1968 was Annie Get Your Gun. Interesting little story there. It was supposed to be written by Jerome Kern, but he died before he could fill the commission, and Irving Berlin was called in instead, wrote the whole show, I believe, in 3 weeks flat, and there's never been another show that has had 10 songs on the hit parade. It's the only one that I know of. I played the part of Frank Butler, the sharpshooter, who is out-sharpshootered by the new girl on the block in the circus, Annie Oakley. But Frank gets a bit of a split personality and falls for her in spite of the fact that she makes him look second-rate. I've had my way with so many girls, and it was lots of fun. My system was to know many girls and keep me safe from one. I find it can't be done. My defenses are down. She's broken my resistance, and I don't know where I am. I went into the fight like a lion, but I came out like a lamb. My defenses are down. She's got me where she wants me, and I can't escape no how. I could speak to my heart when it weakened, but my heart won't listen now. like a toothless, clawless tiger, like an organ grinder's bear, like a knight without his armor, like Samson just once without his hair. My defenses are down, I might as well surrender, for the battle can be won. But I must confess that I like it, and there's nothing to be done. Yes, I must confess that I like it. Being miserable is gonna be fun. I came to the Mail in 1964, and one of the first rounds I had was the Anglican Church and their annual synod. Not because I was holier than thou, but because I'd covered the Anglican synods in Hawke's Bay under the chairmanship of the Right Reverend Norman Lesser, Archbishop of New Zealand. He was a shorn-off little 5'3" Englishman with a magnificent sense of humour and razor-sharp wit. But he also happened to be a chain smoker. So he got round his problem by moving and deciding that virtually all synod business would be conducted in committee, which meant that he and anybody else who wanted to could smoke if they wanted to. And then they would confirm all the committee findings in open session later. And the problem was that the press was normally excluded from the committee stages. So he got round that by passing a motion that the press could remain unless specifically asked to leave. I don't think somehow that Archbishop Lesser would survive in today's smoke-free world. In my first year there, in 1965, I learned that a few years before, the Suter Library and the Marsden Library, which were housed in the lower hall of Marsden House across here, which is nowadays funeral parlour, had been dumped, holus bolus, because they had to fix up the floor of the hall. And they'd been put up into an upstairs room, and they were 4 feet high all over this room, just stacks of them. And I believe the clergy had been through them, and several libraries like the Hocken Library from Dunedin and the Alexander Turnbull in Wellington, even the Bishop Museum from Honolulu had had a look through them. And so they'd culled them pretty thoroughly. I asked Bishop Peter Sutton if I could have a look through them, and he agreed. And so I spent 2 or 3 days going through these books, and I found 1 or 2 treasures that I still feel I got a win out of. But I learned later that nearly all those books, good and bad, had been gone to the tip, including beautiful volumes, full sets of leather-bound volumes of the Latin and Greek classic authors. But we had no book fair in those days, so that's how it happened. Another round that I had was the Port round for a while, and this came out of that period. I've given it, I pitched a title from The King and I and called it, It's a Puzzlement. The age of liberation is a puzzling paradox. It gave me cause to ponder as I wandered round the docks, for there, upon the slipway, bared for everyone to see, was the bottom of a vessel I would normally call she. My gaze was lifted higher to her breastwork. I espied in bold relief the male name, John Wilson, on her side. I've heard the terms hermaphrodite, transvestite, and transsexual, but here's a situation that is guaranteed to vex you all. Why should all ships be female in this modern generation when here's a classic argument for male liberation? The next time that this sturdy vessel sails away to sea, I'll risk my reputation by addressing it as she.